Oil change for this Smart Fortwo 451. This is a 2015, performing the 30K service, 30,560 miles. So this is what you're going to need. It takes just over 3 quarts. You need motor oil. You don't have to buy Mercedes, but you need it to be MB 229.5. I'm using 540. I live in Washington State. This is the oil viscosity I decided to go with, but the important thing is the 229.5. Rating, I have an original oil filter here, part number Alpha 132-180-0110. And when you buy this from Mercedes, they will give you a, well, not give you, they will sell you a crush washer with it as well. As you can see, it's pretty soft and it will crush once you put the bolt back on. In general, I'd like to use a new bolt, but they're all on back order forever, so I'm just going to use the crush washer and this oil filter. And this is what the filter comes with itself. No surprise, just a filter. But that's what it looks like. There's your part number stamped on it. It's made by MAN. Yes, you can get this MAN filter that's not branded with Smart. So go ahead and find that if you can. I just like to buy from Mercedes because it makes it easier for me. No second guessing. Anyways, first things first, the engine oil is warm. My engine is currently warm. It makes it flow out easier. Next thing you're going to do is bring the vehicle up just a little bit if you can't reach. For me, I will reach it, no issues, but what you want to do, you want to get rid of the vehicle. There is your oil filter right here. There is your engine oil drain plug. It's this guy right here. This is the passenger side. That is the driver's side over there. This is the passenger side. So oil drain plug, you have your oil filter. You want to put a pan under here and drain everything there. After it drains, remove the filter, let all of this drain and clean it all up. So what you're going to want is a 24mm bolt. I mean nut. As you can see, 24mm fits it perfectly. You want to break that loose. Get your catch can sufficiently underneath. And then you want to finagle your way under here. You could probably do this from the passenger side as well, but you want to remove this bolt. And that's what the oil drain plug bolt looks like. Yes, it has a mesh filter system on it. It's allowed for you to pull out and it'll drain easier, a little cleaner than this, but I'm just pulling the whole thing out so you can see what it looks like. Just let that oil sufficiently drain. So while the oil down there is draining, it's your opportunity to inspect your bolt. What you want to do is you want to be looking for any damage, cracks, anything like that. Obviously, you want to pull off the old crush washer. And as you can see, the one that you get from Mercedes when you buy one is exactly the same. So good for us. We have the right part. You want to inspect this. If this mesh has any junk in it, any metal shavings, anything like that, that would be reason for alarm. But this looks really good, so I'm going to clean this up and get it ready with the new washer and get it ready for reinstallation. So as it's finishing draining over there, I've done two things. One of it is I've added a little bit of other oil that's fresh and clean to help push that dirty stuff out. The other thing is we're going to remove this. Now this is kind of sad seeing this oil filter like this and seeing how dirty this oil is. Not because, you know, the previous owner ran it, you know, 5,000 miles or whatever, but simply because I bought this vehicle about 300 miles ago, right? So I've only driven 300 miles on it, and Subaru of Lithia in Oregon said that they did an oil change on it just before they sold it to me. Of which, just the condition of the oil and how dirty the filter housing itself is tells me they did not do an oil change, and it was either miscommunication or a straight up lie, but it's very clear they didn't change the oil before they sold the vehicle to me. So as you can probably hear, the oil is still draining just a little bit. It's at a trickle, but at this point I want to take our new filter and you want to prime the media in there, which is the fabric, the material, whatever secret concoction it is that they use. You want to prime it. And the other thing you want to do is you want to take a little bit of fresh oil. Some say dirty, fresh. I don't know if it matters. I always use fresh oil, and you want to coat the gasket of the oil filter. And what that's going to do is, as you're squeezing it on, as you're tightening it up against the engine under there, if this is dry and that area is dry, this can bunch up and tear from the friction of you tightening it. So by having a little bit of lubricant on there, it's going to eliminate that. So this is pretty much good to go. The point of this isn't to fill this to the top, it's to saturate the media in there with oil. So on the first start, when you first start the engine, the oil can flow smoothly through this instead of, wasting 1, 2, 3 seconds of saturating this and then getting pushed out and whatnot. Some people say it's instant, but this just gives a little bit of peace of mind that it's pre-saturated and it's ready to go. As you can see, the oil from the plug itself is still draining, but where the filter was, the gasket came off. That's good. And the second thing we want to do is we want to clean the mating surface and just clean this area in general. So you want that to be nice and clean. And we're going to take our oil filter that we have pre-saturated, and we're going to spin that on, and we're going to get it prepped, ready for the oil. I'll get it centered here. It's a little hard to do with the camera and all that. There. So there, it bottomed out, so we're going to go maybe a half turn right there. You don't need to go crazy, but that's enough. Now it looks like the oil is now down to a drip. So now I'm going to push this out of the way. And I have the new crush washer from Mercedes. And I don't think I can show you this because I can't reach with camera, but I'm going to put it on there, thread it, and we're going to torque this. 48 foot-pounds. 4.8. So that is what you're going to need to torque this puppy down. 48 pound-feet or foot-pound, however you want to say it. But that's all you're going to need. The vehicle is currently flat and level. And that's it. 48 pound-feet, and you're good to go. At this point, we can go ahead and start filling the fluids. So, since we've already used a little bit to prime the oil filter, the total capacity is going to be 3.6 US quarts. This has all been cleaned, so it's going to be quite simple. You just get to 3.6. Make sure you're not leaking out the bottom over there. Basically 3.6 quarts. Quite simple, self-explanatory. And it's quite fast too. That's one. So that was 3. This is the 4th one. Something I just noticed, this is 1 liter. These aren't quarts. So it takes 3.4 liters. So 3.4 of these. And there it is, milliliters. So I'm going to leave it at the 600 line. I can't show you. So I'm going to fill this until this is down to the 600 line, which would be exactly 3.4 liters, which should be the exact amount that this engine needs. And at this point, it's pretty easy. You just want to do something like this if you've never done this before. I went just a little too much, but it's fine. That tiny little bit is, the other 30 milliliter, it's no big deal. So that should be it. I'm gonna wipe all this up, clean it, close it, and start the engine. Now before starting, you always want to double check. I just cleaned this and I shoved it back in, and as you can see, it's barely over that full line, but that's because the system hasn't cycled the oil through it just yet, and the oil filter isn't fully saturated, but this tells me that it is safe to start. So at this point, we're gonna start the engine. Let it run for about 30 seconds. Watch for that oil pressure light. You should turn on and then turn off. And then during those 30 seconds, we're going to be going down here. You might not hear me, but we're going to go down here and check for leaks as the engine is on. So this is simply how you do it. You come in here. Your oil pressure, let me focus here. The oil pressure light should turn off, meaning the oil pressure is good. Then we're going to go check for leaks. And the oil pressure light is right there. So I'm going to start it. Oil pressure light is off, meaning the pressure inside is good. We have no leaks, which is good. Oil pressure light is still off, means everything is doing A-OK. means the oil filter is functioning properly and letting the oil flow. No leaks, everything is great. At this point, you want to wait about 1 or 2 minutes and then check the oil level again. So it has been about 2 minutes. Nice, clean, and dry oil dipstick. I'm going to pop it in all the way down, and you pull it out. It's a really lawn boy here, so let me show you. So your oil level should be in between, you can't really see it from the reflection, but it should be in between the full line right there and the empty line in that grid pattern, and it is near the top. So I can add maybe 100 milliliters, and that should be maximum. Actually, no, wait. I can add not 100 milliliters. I can add just a little bit more, barely anything. In the bottle, I'm talking about like that much glove to glove from the bottle, just a tiny little bit, and that should keep it perfect. And then the rest of your oil, it doesn't go bad if it's not cycled through heat, so I can keep this for the next oil change, or I can keep it also just in case. I know this car doesn't burn any oil, but just in case I lose some, or just in case it does burn some, you can always use this to top up. But at the same time, if you don't top up, you can always keep this for the next time for your next oil change. These, once they're used, do not reuse this. Trust me, throw this away. And this feels like a very hard metal. It's not as soft as the other one. Oh, no, wait, it is soft. Okay, good. It's a little stiffer and a little harder than the Mercedes one I got. So this tells me it's a little cheaper quality. But you want to throw all that away. Keep this. This is done correctly. This is exactly to specification, exactly how it should be done. And if you followed along with me and you've done it, congratulations. You've done a Mercedes level quality oil change. Like, this is dealer spec, exactly how it should be. Either way, even if you're just watching this, I hope you learned something today. I hope this was useful to you. And keep learning out there. Keep working on your own vehicle and saving money. Either way, like I said, hope you learned something, and have a nice day. And the Subaru dealership told me the oil change was done. This is what makes me believe it wasn't done, because there's no way it's going to get that black in 300 miles on a vehicle that's not diesel.